A close battle on map number 116-14 for Complexity. They got off to an 11-0 start. Everything was looking brilliant, but OG showed tenacity to get back into things, and that gives me hope heading into map number 2. Now, we've talked about before, Alex, how Mirage can be a weird one. Both of the teams willing to play it, willing to pick it, but sometimes not winning this one.
Yeah, even in their opening games, right? We were saying they both picked Mirage. They both lost Mirage against Force and Spirit, respectively. So Mirage, I think, is a map for both these teams that's sometimes a bit up and down. We'll get to see which of them are on point here. Heading underway into Mirage, OG will be looking to see if they can continue that form they started to pick up at the end of Nuke into this one. They are a map down, but they've got a chance to bounce back here on Mirage.
Well, config. Spraying away. It's going to be the Glock kill onto MBK. Valde down the sandwich. It's going to be taking quite a bit of damage on board as Poison gets rid of him on the P250. Mantu Steffi up config and Oboe finding the kills, and it's 1-0 for Complexity. The pistol aren't going their way, continuing their good form in from Nuke. And well, OG coming into the next round don't really look like they're going to be going for this force part either, so it should be Complexity taking the first two. And this pistol round didn't really have even too much of a resistance from OG. They just got absolutely destroyed. They're gone for the force on a couple of players. Manti obviously saving up for the ult, but this could be interesting for OG.
Yeah, that was a rough pistol round. Getting completely shut out of it, but as you said, they've gone for the force buy. We'll see what they can get going here. Alexi B with the scout on this map is surprisingly effective at times. He also sometimes rocks the double AWP setup for the team on this map as well, so we'll definitely be watching out for him on the sniper. He had a great first game over on Nuke, so I'd love to see that form continue. Right now, Blame F sitting in underpass could be the first man about to stray into the sniper's crosshair. Doesn't look like they're going to go out for it just yet, though. Complexity slowly but surely gathering mid, and there we go. Tag lands for Alexi B.
It's all about doing the damage with a scout, dropping the players to relatively low HP so you can take them down. And Complexity are starting to gather outside of the B bomb site. MBK here in the middle of the site itself, one off the wood short, and now the execute comes in. MBK with the CZ looking to hold on as they drop down into the bomb site. It's going to be Oboe trying to spray away. He's going to get himself a kill onto MBK. Good fry coming through, and now Valde trying his best with the CZ. Get to white, clear map. Now spraying down, will get an easy kill on the Valde, and it's just Issa, the last remaining player with the deagle in hand. And they do so much damage, Alex. Look how much damage they do across the board onto Complexity, but they only manage one kill.
Yeah, it comes way too close for comfort on some of these players for Complexity. I was also slightly surprised. It looked like Oboe was going in first with the AK there. I'd have thought you'd want the MAC-10 jumping out through that window and just trying to clear those angles. And that might have been part of the reason why it became a little uncomfortable. But they should be surviving with 4 alive. So the actual outcome of the round is fine for Complexity. It's pretty good for them. Making sure none of them die to the bomb as well. I think as this half plays out, the main thing I'm going to be looking at is normally Complexity really like to go for mid control in a lot of their early rounds, and then they try and make individual plays off that. I want to see firstly what the coordination is like for Complexity, and secondly, how often they go to that B site, because MBK is that B site anchor, and he had a pretty rough game stats-wise on that first map. He went 6 for 24, so I want to see if Complexity are going to try and maybe make the most of that, try and see if they can exploit that position. As it stands, though, the aggression from OG could make this round interesting. They've already got an AK into their hands.
Config getting rid of MBK. It's Rush spamming away on the Khalil as well, and Blame F holding on, dropping Valde. And now it's just Mantu and Alexi B left alone into the 2 versus 4. Blame F, he's down and short. We've got Mantu in the bomb site, just dancing around the pillars. Blame F is not trying to bite. He doesn't want to give the pistol a single chance to take him down here. It's all about limiting the casualties and allowing Config to get close as well. But Blame F, given the opportunity, he will take it away. And Alexi B is not expected to do anything here. Just sitting around hoping a player from Complexity runs into his crosshair. He can take away an exit kill, but 3-0 for Complexity. They get off to a perfect start. We go into the next round with OG finally getting the rifles in play. This was a similar story to Nuke. Complexity getting off to the perfect start. The issue was for OG, even in the gun rounds, they weren't able to compete. So that's what I want to see, Alex. I want to see them pick up some of these early rifle rounds. I feel like if they did that on Nuke, if they had a slightly better first half, they probably could have won that map.
Absolutely. With how close it came at the end there, was definitely a possibility if they got off to just a slightly better start. That single AWP is out for Mantu on the CT side. Complexity not choosing to upgrade yet, even though Poison's got the money for it. This is where I think if I were Complexity, I might throw a fast B into the mix. See what MBK is looking like early as that B site anchor. Maybe if you can get that early kill onto him, you can get the round win with the MAC-10. And it looks like Complexity agree with me. They're lining themselves up in the apartment, but that molly will slow them down and buy time for the rotate.
Well, now the push comes through. It's a quick play, cutting through the defense, trying to get forward to the B bomb side, but it's Alexi B, MBK, shutting it down, kill after kill. It's BlameF and Rush left alone. I like the decision from Complexity. I see the idea behind it, but it's not really working out in practice up until this point. Rush with a double kill. It's not enough, though, as his teammate goes down. Rush has to do it all with just a Khalil, and that's unfortunate timing. Issa with the headshot. It's his first kill on the map so far, and the first round for OG.
Yeah, like I was saying, the main reason I like that is because you know you've got money for the next round anyway. So it's just kind of a test round, right? You test to see if MBK's stepped it up. You test to see what his individual level's looking like. And in general, I do think MBK's a pretty good B-site anchor on Mirage. And you see it there. He gets those 2 kills very successfully. He ducks back into cover. He allows Alexi B to help him out. So solid hold. And now we see this mid-control I was talking about. BlameF with no time to waste. Obo with a kill of his own. And OG are in trouble.
Oh, Mantu is going to miss that shot somehow. And that's a little fortunate to Complexity. They keep the players alive, and they're finding every single kill. It's just MBK and Mantu left alone into 2 versus 5. And Rush is there with the headshot on the MBK. Mantu running away, trying to flee the scene, and BlameF is ready for him. The spray going down as well. And that's going to be an ult picked up if they need it, but they already have one. So communications passed over 4-1. For Complexity, we take a look at OG's money. So it's in a weird place. A couple of players have enough to purchase up something, but the rest of it, the vast majority, not going to be able to get the full buy across the board. So OG will have to go for a little half buy, sprinkling some investment into things, keeping the money in the bank, and Complexity should be given a 5th round.
I think that round's a good example of why I love watching Complexity on Mirage. They're just a fun team to watch because they just want to take fights all the time, it seems. They've got a bunch of playmakers on this squad. It's almost like when watching a UFC fight, like the fighter's just willing to just throw stuff out there all the time. Is always just trying to get action going, get nice shots. And speaking of, Poison lands a nice shot up close and personal. MBK there, taken down with the pistol. There's another player up close, and Obo nearly goes for the lazy clear, but he gets it back in time. And OG are getting picked apart in this one.
Well, BlameF on the double, Issa and Alexi B going down towards the end. So 5-1 for Complexity as predicted. And now we get into an important round for OG. They did win an important gun round a little bit earlier on, but the problem is consecutive success is something OG struggle with so far here on Mirage. So we'll see if they can change that going into this one. The AWP out for Mantu. M4s out for the rest. Not a whole lot of utility, but enough to get by.
Poison looking for this early pick over at B, but again, the utility will force him away. I think something I'd like to see a bit more of from OG on their CT side is maybe some mid control in some of these rounds, because that's oftentimes a big part of Complexity's game plan. So I think if OG throw in a couple of rounds where they really try and be sticky at mid, they really just try and be annoying at that position, that could serve them well. But this is one of those rounds where Complexity aren't focused on mid to begin with. They're all grouping up. They're all going back towards A. And there are a fair few CTs ready for this, as well as Valda pushed into the ramp. He could be a real nuisance against this execute.
More smoke goes down towards the ramp. Need about to go through as well. Dropping Poison down to 45 HP at the start of the round.
Complexity use their smokes as well.
Yeah.
So they have no smokes left now. Just that one smoke from Valda does so much for them because they can't go for the fillet site execute anymore.
This is a big issue moving forward for Complexity. They're going to have to hit these shots. Luckily, vast majority of the players here, so if they get rid of this close player, that should be enough. And Mantu going down without a single kill. That's such an important kill to find for Poison. Now Valde hiding under the wood is Config right in front of him. The headshot picked up immediately, taking him down. And now Obo. No reply as well. Isaac gone. That dispels the defense away. OG, I mean, it was set up perfectly for them in terms of their chances of holding down the bomb site, but Complexity just explode. They take the headshots, they take the kills quickly, and they get the job done. It's going to be a 6th round picked up for Complexity and OG. Well, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I guess if you can't go for the full execute, Dinko, just make sure your flashes are really good so you can just kill people while blind. That's a pretty good way to do it. Blind that Orpha in CT, get that early kill. Config just seemed to do a 180-degree turn. I don't even want to know how he landed that shot because that just looked absurd. Config's even going for more at the end here. When he's feeling confident, he will play very aggressive. He's alone on this hunt. His teammates have got plenty of money, so he can definitely afford to go for this. I don't think he's going to get these kills at the end. Either way, OG only saving 2 rifles. They probably can't go for the buy into this one. If they do, it will certainly be limited. Oh my god. What sense does Config play on? Jeez.
I'm not quite sure. I can have a little look here to confirm, but that is pretty nuts from Config. Now 6-1. OG again are in this position, Alex, where it kind of feels like Nuke, where they have these constant half buys. They never get the money going, and it's on the CT side, which makes it a little bit more difficult, but okay, MBK. Obo is looking right down the barrel. BlimmF had turned his head, and MBK takes them both down very quickly. 2 headshots, and that's the start that OG needed. Config has got himself into the window, but LXDP is aware. He knows he's there, takes him down as well, and it's just Poison stuck in middle. The last player standing for Complexity. And this is a round that OG should have lost. But MBK, the hero, goes aggressive in towards the underpass. Nothing to lose, and he makes it work as he sprays them down. A 2nd round on the board for OG.
Yeah, OG just fighting fire with fire here, going for some aggression of their own. As you said, MBK, that's such a nice spray transfer. That's actually really difficult to do that. 2 players on different angles of elevation and different angles just to begin with. That's really nice from MBK. He's definitely started stepping it up here on Mirage. I was saying earlier, I think in general, he is really good as that B-site anchor on this map. We're seeing that, and here's this mid-control I wanted to see from OG. Trying to take this away from Complexity early, trying to be annoying, trying to make sure that Complexity can't just run all of their plays at the start of the round. And now Complexity, if they want to go for that mid-control, will probably have to use quite a few nades to do it. So I really like the switch up from OG. They're starting to get aggressive. They're starting to be much more proactive. And now Complexity have to think about what they want to do and what their response is.
Definitely throwing a little bit of a spanner into the works. The thought cogs have to get turning. Well, Complexity, they're going to decide to try and retake middle. They're going to send Poison as the front man with the AWP. Just a small bit of info as well for those wondering. I checked config sensitivity is 2.2 with 400 DPI. So it's not the highest.
Big flick then.
Yep. 50 seconds. Now in play. Obo about to smoke top connector. Mid-control gain for Complexity. OG give it up. Now with 40 seconds left, they're just holding the choke points. Alexi B towards top con. Poison with the headshot through the smoke. Gets rid of Valde. Opening kill is Complexity's, but there's 30 seconds on the clock. Not a whole lot of time left. Complexity are eventually going to have to go to a bomb site. And with the way OG are playing, they've got players in passive positions just holding the important choke points. And MBK has gone aggressive. He's caught out one, and he's being a nuisance in this connector push. There's not enough time to waste for Complexity. They have to go. They have to head into the A bomb site. And well, at the moment, OG are just holding it off. There's no time. There's absolutely no time to do anything. Complexity, they just get confused. They get caught in middle. They get caught in position, and they cannot win the round now because of it. It's Config staying alive. He got 3 kills in the round. But OG, they pick it up.
those are the sorts of rounds that scare me for Complexity as well, because I was watching back last time these teams played on Mirage. Those were a lot of the sort of rounds that Complexity were losing, where they just looked a little disjointed. It looked like they were just making a few of those mistakes. And I think a lot of that comes back to when OG are just switching things up slightly and are just making it difficult for Complexity to get the right read on the situation. It looks like Complexity won't be running out of time in this round, though. They're going for this fast A play, but blameF's been caught at mid. And now there are 3 CTs on this A site ready and waiting. Mantu lining a shot, lining up another one. 2 kills with the AWP. The nades just aren't landing for Complexity right now. The flashes aren't effective enough, and Mantu is making the most of it. 3 kills for him with the AWP, and Config's got almost no chance.
Well, MBK gets rid of Config, and it's a 4th round for OG. Complexity, we'll take a look at their money. It's kind of getting into that position now where they're going to be struggling to get buys in across the board. They will get enough to pick up a couple of AK-47s across the board now. In fact, everyone apart from Config having the AK. The utility's pretty good, but this is where Complexity need to win this round. If not, their money's gone. OG will likely tie things up. If not, head into the lead.
Looks like a more standard round from both teams to kick this one off. No aggression from OG, no crazy plays from Complexity. So we get to see something slightly more standard. 2 CT smokes just landed at mid. OG are really using a lot of their nades early into this round. They don't have too many left for the late round, and so far, Complexity haven't put too much pressure on. They've kept quite a few of their nades, they've kept quite a lot of their utility. Another molly now used. There's still over a minute left on the clock, and OG have basically dumped all their nades on this mid control. Complexity is still fighting for it.
Well, Rush. Gonna throw those flashbang into connectors, smoke out for the window as well. Complexity have got mid control again to play with. Molotov this time to prevent the short peek that MBK give the nightmares with, but this time it's Alexi B that gets the kill. He's in the ladder room, just dancing, tries to jump over the top. He will eventually go down, but the spray from Valde, perfect timing. blameF, luckily in a position where he can trade. They were kind of thinking blameF's position would neutralize that possibility, but Valde just making the ballsy play. It works out for him. It's a heads-up play, and that's exactly what OG needed. That round was starting to look good for Complexity, but it all crumbles right beneath them. 6-5, money gone for Complexity, not even a bomb plant, so that's going to be job done.
I actually think if Complexity trade faster into the ladder room there, they might not run into that issue, because you see Valde have to push through the smoke for that spray in the back. But the spacing to begin with was just a bit off from Complexity. It took them quite a long time to get that trade, and wow, okay, Mantu, opening kill at mid, poisons out of the round. That was the stout in the T-side sniper's hands. OG are really getting aggressive at mid in these recent rounds, and I'm loving it. They're taking away this position, they're constantly making it difficult for Complexity, and they've already got 2 kills.
I'm liking this confidence from OG. We got to see this actually in their opening matchup. Obo, nice shot on the MBK. Dishing out the damage with this deagle. Oh, Valde taking a lot of damage on his aggression, but he still makes it work onto blameF. Now Alexi B knows the player's got into this B bomb site. He can't deal with Obo, so instead he knows he has the bomb. So he'll just come away from that. Doesn't want to give an opportunity on over to Complexity. Instead, they gather up. They play as a unit. And Obo, he has now found himself an AWP to play with. Still 50 seconds. Still time for Complexity. Although, it will be very difficult. That bomb is being watched by Rush. Still dropped at top middle, but he needs to be aware of this flank coming in from behind. And while Valde hears it, Obo walking right into the apartments. This is smart repositioning from OG. And now Rush just alone in the world. He has the deagle versus 3 players over here for OG. 25 seconds. Confirmed victory pretty much now for this OG roster. Rush will try his best. If he gets this jungle kill, he may potentially be on for a chance, but makes the noise. Is aware that he's there, and that's the kill. 6th round picked up for OG. They tie things up. Money's going to be back for Complexity though. Then we'll get the rifles out again.
Yeah, OG with plenty of money as well, but we still haven't seen that double up setup yet. There it is, though. MBK takes it over towards the B site. Sometimes you'll see Alexi B on that secondary AWP, but here MBK's going for it into the B apartments. You see AWPers oftentimes go into that position to just hold that long-range angle. Poison pressured at ramp, down to 5 health, and he still wants to fight. That is a big risk from Poison. He was really wanting to get the opening kill for his team there, but he ends up losing out, and now Rush might make a solo play. Oh, Complexity just losing out in this round, looking for individual fights across the board, and they're not winning any of them. Again, this is the disjointed Complexity you sometimes see on Mirage. They're very good at making solo plays at times, but sometimes that can go against them. FlameF finally cracking open the ace site, but there's still more work to do, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it. FlameF shut down by Man2, and OG have really turned this round. They are really turning it up now. In these last 5 rounds, they've won all of them.
Yeah, this is really solid. Yeah, solid stuff from OG. Complexity were dominating. Coming into the start of this, they were finding all the important round wins. OG won the first gun round, but were immediately answered back on. Then they turned around. They got themselves back onto the scoreboard. And so we take a look at what Complexity can do in this round. It's not a whole lot. They don't have the money available. We take a glance at the scoreboard. MBK on 8 kills. He was a little quiet over on Nuke, but he has stepped up here. Important rounds as well from him, getting aggressive towards the underpass. And Complexity, I mean, the kill disparity is not quite there either. I think it's just a pretty solid game from both teams. Complexity on the T side is the less favored affair. They have already got 6 rounds picked up. It's not going to be the worst case scenario, even if they are to go on to not win a single round in the remainder of this half. Of course, they would love to do so. They've gone for the half investment, and they're going to be going quickly in towards this B bomb site.
Yeah, I like this call from Complexity. Last round, you just kind of spread out in the default and gave away the picks a bit too easily. BlameF this time calls for a fast play towards this B site. They'll have the execute lined up. They'll have the nades coming on in. Alexi B's just arrived at B, though, and he has nades, which could make the difference. MBK lands the shot while blind. Alexi B's still here to help, but MBK's the man doing the damage right now. Alexi B and MBK shut it down between them. They made that look easy.
A nice try from Complexity. They had the idea, but OG just shut it down completely. Not a single chance for the Complexity side to take that B site. And now they come into this one, the last round of the first half. AK-47s for every player bar the offer of Poison. Over here for OG, it's still the double op setup. MBK and Mantu. And Valde, I love this. Good bit of movement to get up towards Catwalk quickly. He's close to the smoke. Poison. Oh, he's going to be shut down. Not ready for that. Valde has been so solid. He's really intuitive, figuring out when's the good time to go aggressive, and just as I say it, he comes back at the perfect time. Config had just pulled his utility or knife. He just got caught in the timing, and that has just started things off to a nightmare scenario for Complexity. They're down 3 players, still 1 minute and 20 left on this clock to play with as well, and I just don't see a way back into this for Complexity. They have just been absolutely handed a terrible round, and Alexi B, he'll catch BlameF, does let his teammate go down first, but the trade kill does come in immediately, and now it's just Rush, left alone into a 1 versus 4. This won't be happening. It's all about time for OG. This waiting it out will eventually take their next victim. And we're taking a 9th round at the half here on Mirage.
That feels like a matter of time at this point. Rush moving into A. They're about to spot him. Oh, not successful on the spray. 9-6 half for OG. They'll be happy with that. They went on a big streak at the end there. Complexity will have to bounce back in the second half on their map pick. That's coming up after this.
Comes over me, 'cause I know it's time to dance. All you gotta do tonight
Well, even a Juggernaut isn't perfect, as was proven there in the first half. OG putting in a shift with 8 rounds in a row to close out that first half and to give themselves some good momentum heading into their T side. And they're going straight in towards this B bomb site. Or maybe they're not, Dinko. I lied.
Yeah, they tried to sell that for you, Alex. But, I mean, it was looking that way.
Complexity believed it as well.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's how effective it is. It's even tricked you, and you see everything. The bomb's still hanging out towards top middle. Got one player over here towards the say ramp at the moment as well. Where does OG decide to go with this one? Still the 2 smokes, 2 flashbangs. HE grenade on 2. Seems like they're slowly transitioning from the B-bomb site over towards A. MBK trying to make some noise, trying to sell some footsteps to keep them here on the B-bomb site. And Complexity, they don't have a whole lot of info. They have got a very passive setup over towards this A bomb site. So if OG executing towards the side, they're confirming the bomb plant here. They're going to be focusing down CT spawn. The only issue is I feel like Complexity are perfectly set up to deal with this strategy. You've got the smokes down for the stairs and the jungle. The flashes are going to go in towards CT. But the issue is you're going to have 2 players you've got to fight here now.
OG taking a bit of time as well. The nade stack has just come through. They only have the 1 flashbang left. MBK is trying to cut off rotations, but it's the bomb arriving on the A site. It has been planted. And OG are actually going to push into jungle for the post plant because they've been able to plant so far in the open. Alexi B's moving in and he's hearing those steps. He hears the players moving into CT. He can communicate over that to his teammates. And with 3 players in jungle, OG are in a pretty good spot here.
Yeah, a lot of damage being inflicted upon the CTs that are trying to get back in as well. Issa finds one. Rush stepping back in. It's trading back and forth here. Rush with important frags. He'll look towards ramp. But at this point, OG have such a strong post-plant position. It's hard to see a world in which they lose this. And Poison tried for the defuse. It just doesn't happen. I mean, it was an intricate pistol round coming in from OG. And they make it work.
Everyone getting a piece of the pie on the OG side as well. They all get 1 kill each, a team ace for them to start this second half. I was saying earlier about how good Complexity can be in these second rounds. Against top 30 teams, they win this force by 52% of the time in the second round, Dinko. I love that stat because it proves just how much firepower this team have with these digs, with the scout. You can never count Complexity out of these sorts of rounds. So OG have to make sure they're playing on their A game here, and they're going to do so into the B bomb site.
Well, Rush trying to hold on. It's going to be a chance. And it's 1 kill for Rush. Potential coming through his config, the sword away, and he's going to get a double. He'll go back to the apartment, and damage has been inflicted. Somehow Complexity are in a favorable position right now. It's just Alexi B, the lone Finn, trying to make it work with just the MAC-10. And they're not giving him a chance as BloomF comes around the backside. It's the Deagle that deliver for Complexity. They lose the pitch around Alex, but they come right back in with a second round force buy, and it's Config and Rush delivering on the B hold.
Exactly what I was saying. 52% win rate in this second round after losing the pistol, Dinko. It's ridiculous. They're so good with the digs. They win these rounds so often, and it puts them in great shape because now OG have gone for a full investment with only digs to show for it on their side of things. 2 smokes, a single flashbang. Really not much to work with on the OG side, and BlameF is even going to take away mid, so that's a massive area of the map that Complexity don't have to worry about. They still only have Obo on this A site right now, so there's a decent chance that OG may be able to get this bomb down on the A site if they pull the trigger right now. And it looks like that's going to be the case, but Poison is just now arriving in towards Connector. OG sneaking up in through the A ramp. Oh, Obo definitely spotted that.
Well, Alexi B has taken a little bit of damage on board to start off the round. He's down to 28. And Obo, pretty good positioning. Poison throws first blood in Obo. He's just having a good day. 2 kills, up to Palace as well. The last couple of bullets in the magazine delivered death to MBK. It's just Valde. And he's gone as well. Complexity, they clean it up. They keep all 5 players alive, albeit barely on Obo, but he does get 3 kills. He was involved in a lot of the action and still walking away with his life. It's very solid for Complexity. And you can see OG, they don't have money going into this round either. It's just 2k average in the bank. So it should be a 9th round for Complexity. If you are just tuning in, we're currently on map number 2, Complexity. Take it away, Nuke.
Obo's alone on A again here. Rotate will start to come in, but Obo's got to be careful. The Glock's running down. BlameF getting 1 kill back, but Mantu gets another kill with the Glock. This could be dangerous, but the kill's coming back round. Mantu up close, burst fire. Oh no, the burst fire is never good. Never trust the burst fire, Dinko. That's what we've learned today.
The burst fire is terrible on both the Glock and the FAMAS. Just never right.
I forgot it was even on the FAMAS. That's how bad it is.
That is how bad that is. I mean, it used to be good, not in Go, but it was good previous editions. So heading to this round, Complexity with the double op setup. It's Config and Poison picking up the snipers. Over for OG, it's Mantu with the AWP and 4 AK-47s. A good chance for OG to try and turn around their second half campaign. It has been pretty dire, actually, from them in these recent rounds. They won the pistol round coming into the second half, but since then, it's been Complexity. And Poison gets a free kill up towards short a second as well. So just going to keep going back for more. That's 3 kills. And you'll never see Poison fall back after 1. He's a player that constantly peaks until you shut him down. And now I'm starting to get scared for OG. Complexity are starting to feel it. They're starting to get comfortable. And we know what Complexity can do once they get that momentum going, especially on the CT side.
Yeah, I don't even know how he gets a headshot while blind on that first man, but you know what? I'm not even going to question it. That first kill really helps as well, because BlameF was also sitting at mid. You see that third man Poison takes out of the round, wasn't even looking at him. He was focused on BlameF, and here's the quick boost. Config, jumping into the apartment. It was a bit scary for a second. He's down to 10 health, but the molly will keep him safe. Pretty sure he fluffed that flashbang as well, but OG have been denied access to the B site. That's the main thing. Also, Valda's got a Zeus for some reason. I don't know how he's going to use it, but he's got it.
Well, OG sending the players through spawn. You've got Obo under the wood. OG are going to start to send players over towards this A bomb site. Obo just sitting down underneath the wood itself, and the flashbang goes in front of the ramp. OG at the ready to start charging their way through. Now they go forward. Obo is going to be tested. He's 11 and 12 right now, but he started to look really good in the second half. And there's a good kill on the Alexi B. BlameF helping as he extends around the corner of the smoke. OG just torn to shreds again. It's Issa. 1 versus 5, P250 emerging from Palace. BlameF gets rid of him as well. Comfortable kills. 11th round for Complexity. And OG, yet again with a bye. But they have struggled in these recent rounds. Complexity absolutely destroyed their previous gun round. Made it look like an eco. So OG, I want to see something different. I want to see a plan coming into this round.
A couple of mid smokes from OG early suggest they may look for that mid control. BlameF's just dropped into underpass though. Player pushed into B apartments as well. The AWP of Config's holding this angle, so it looks like Complexity want to take away this side of the map to begin with. They're leaving mid fairly open in order to do this, but now BlameF could go back to mid if he wanted to. Meanwhile, on the A side of the map, Alexi B is pretty much alone here, trying to make this solo play. The smoke is a little bit of a one-way for him, a little bit of a chance to try and get this opening kill, and Rush has to be very careful right now. The molly's going to force him out. This is lovely from Alexi. The solo play alongside the molly pays off for him. He is eventually going to be traded out, but now the mid players arrive. MBK's got the backstab. 2 kills for him. Issa with a great shot, and that was a really nice round there from OG. It starts with Alexi B getting that 1 kill, and you see the Complexity players are really focused on the A site at that point. They have their backs turned. That gives time for the connector players to get the flank going. Alexi B making that call around himself, and this molly is really what made it happen.
And that's exactly what OG would be hoping for. They needed a round to be delivered. MBK, he does have these quiet performances for this team, I feel like. But at times, in certain maps and series, he does have these moments where he steps up and delivers so much impact. He's holding on. It's aggression from BlameF that doesn't work out. He'll die early into the round for Complexity. And OG given an early man advantage with no trade potential.
Working their way up through mid as well. Smoke down in connector. Poison can peer over the top of it, but he's burning. He's burning. Oh, down to 6 health. He just about gets away safely. That was way too close for him, though. At least he's still alive. That's the main thing that matters. OG should be able to take away connector now. I doubt that Poison wants to push back into that position. Puts down the molly to slow them down slightly. At this point, OG have got to be loving life. They've got the man advantage. They've got mid control. They've got a lot of damage onto Poison. LXEB's taken a nade to the face, sure, but OG is still in a great spot here.
55 seconds.
What was a gamble stack?
Yeah, it's a big gamble stack over for Complexity onto this B-bomb site.
That's why you don't gamble, kids.
Yeah, gambling, well, can work out sometimes. It can be horrible a lot of the other times. Well, good shot from Config. 4 versus 4. Tap it away from Config. But at this point, Complexity realized we're not winning this. Too far removed. They're going to give away the round to OG. It's going to be 12 rounds on the board. They'll take the lead. Money's still good for Complexity. It'll be even better if they save all 4 players over, obviously, here as well. So it's not too worrisome for them. We move into the next round, and they will still be able to compete fully. But OG taking the lead.
I have a request for Twitch chat, Dinko. You know how they keep giving me lookalikes? You know how I got Austin Powers yesterday, which honestly was very accurate. I've had, I think I've had Justin Bieber someone, which I really don't see.
I know where this is going. I'm not. I don't want to know.
My request to Twitch chat is, can you please find a lookalike for Dinko? That's all I ask.
I don't want to know.
Why not? It might be a good one.
Could be, I guess.
At least you're not Mitch. At least you're not Frodo.
True. Could be worse, I suppose.
We got the double setup.
I mean, the double off setup has been working for Complexity.
Yeah.
It's something they've wanted to go with for a lot. It's Poison and Config been pulling that out pretty consistently when they've been able to afford it. It's going to be MBK trying to cross behind the boxes. I don't know how Poison is that quick.
Ooh. There is a little gap in that smoke, but the player's on the other side of the wall, so Mantu won't be able to pull the trigger on this just yet. Rush sitting in this close corner. At times, that spot can go overlooked. At times, it can be difficult to land shots from that spot, though, when players have the backs turned. We're just going to ignore that smoke that seems to have landed on top of the map. We're just going to focus on OG's apartments play, which is looking likely to come through right now. Config's got that second AWP still on short, so that's something they have to be aware of. Rush is also ready to lock down the apartments, and here comes the push. Potentially, that smoke's still down, though, and OG might want to sneak through it.
Big play into the B-bomb site. It's going to be Rush with Tiny in the corner. The first kill and the second delivered. This is good. A 3 versus 2, but the kill from Issa, it's doubled up. And now Obo and BlimF looking to try and pick up the round for Complexity to tie the scoreline. Issa trying to edge his way around to collect that bomb again. He's scared of the short position, but he's got the bomb. He's confirmed the plant, and now Valde with such an important kill. He might have just done enough to confirm OG this round win as well, because BlimF has to recover the bomb site in a 1 versus 2, and that just isn't going to happen. A 13th round for OG. They're now 3 away from sending us to the 3rd. And what Complexity, they're starting to crumble a little bit again here, Alex. This game has just been so streaky. We see loads of rounds being picked up in a row for one team, and then suddenly they fall off, and the other steps up for quite some time. So Complexity, they've got the money, they can buy up again, but now they need to start winning rounds.
Oh, this could work for Poison. The molly blocks the window smoke. There is a second smoke down, though. They try and land the nade onto Alexi B, who's currently alone towards mid with the Mac 10. I think now that he's been denied early, he may just have to back away from this position. Nade lands towards connector. Alexi B's still going for it with just the Mac 10 in hand. That's a bit of a risk, but he wants to sneak up onto the connector. He wants to try and split this A-bomb site. BlimF puts down the counter utility, but he's not ready for Valda. The man in Palace gets that first kill, and now Obo is the only man really committed to the site itself. He's trying to slow them down. Poison also here to help, also here to try and spot the cross. He's been able to get so many kills so far at mid. The rotate's coming into A, though, and OG finally getting that bomb down. Oh,
Ooh, Rush and Obo, the two get kills. Poison as well assisting. That's 3 for Complexity in very quick succession. And OG, they've got the bomb site, yes, but they're not holding it very well. Alexi B on a MAC-10 tried his best, and Issa picked away. They only lose 1 player, and it's BlameF that goes down, but it's Complexity that will be taking themselves a 12th round and keeping this game competitive. At least the bomb plant does come through for OG, so their money is looking fantastic for the next couple of rounds. Issa had 11k going into this one before the purchase, and so they can get a real solid buy across the board. And I like this call for Complexity to go for the tactical pause. They realized finding consecutive success is now the winning currency. If you can win rounds in a row, generally the momentum is going to carry you through. And we're getting into the late stages of this map. They can take this series 2-0 if they grab control of this.
Look how even this game is, man, on the kills. No one really lagging behind. Even Alexi B, who's at the bottom of the scoreboard with 11 kills, has higher ADR than most of his teammates. Just goes to show how tightly contested this game has been so far. BlameF up there at the top of the scoreboard with only 17 kills. It's a very, very tight one here. And into round 26. Both teams still with a bit of money in the bank. Both teams still able to buy, which is exactly what we like to see. Complexity going for their first round where they really push all the way up into top mid early. And BlameF is about to catch them with their pants down. He almost gets the 2k. Alexi B just about getting away on a slither of health. But that's still an excellent start to the round for Complexity. And look at BlameF go. He's not done yet. He wants more. He can sniff out Mantu's position. The flash comes through, though. And OG are 1 step ahead of it. So they bring it back to a 4v4, but they've taken a lot of damage on those 2 players.
Oh. He's been working out. He's a little heavier. Wasn't quite ready for the jump.
Need to start practicing parkour.
Yeah. 57 seconds. Lots of time still for OG. Currently working their way over towards this A bomb site. Complexity, the way they've been playing A is very passive at times. Obviously, they've had those rounds where BlameF has wildly pushed in towards Palace, or they've had the close ramp progression from Obo underneath the wood, but a lot of the times when they get poisoned on this AWP, they can play this bomb site a little bit more passively. Now they've sent Rush in. They've got a read of this A bomb site hit, so Rush goes in front of the smokes. Poison takes the first kill. Obo going down, though. That's a bit of an issue for Complexity. Now they need another kill. And where are OG going to go with this? 19 seconds, Config peering over the top of short. It's Valde and connected. It needs to go down quickly. And it's Config that wins the battle. Poison missing a shot, but it's Rush. He positioned himself here just at the right time. And he's got himself an important kill with Matu going down as well. It's 13 picked up for Complexity. They're 3 away from victory in the series. And the money is not looking particularly good here for OG.
Yeah, it's very much on the edge of being able to buy. I think they will still commit to it. You can already see 3 AKs being bought, but Mantu's got a MAC-10. MBK gets an AK as well, so it's not as bad as it could have been for OG. That decision by Rush to rotate over, though, makes all the difference there. You see those 2 kills he gets. He's able to dance around those smokes. I love Config's patience at mid as well. That was a really good... Oh, that's not good. Alexi B caught at mid. BlameF just rushes his position. Here comes the play into the A site, though. Obo has to try and hold. Config lands the shot with the AWP. Obo's getting dealt with in the meantime, but the rest of the CT's arriving on the A bomb site, and OG have been completely countered here. MBK going into the smoke might be able to make the play, but Poison whips out the P250, and now Mantu has too many players against him. Complexity back into the lead, back on track. It's another close map though, Dinko. It's anyone's game, but OG are the ones on the back foot as their money again is gone.
If OG go on to lose this series, if they go on to lose this map and lose 2-0, I'm going to be kind of disappointed for the fact that this series could have been different. We could have had that 3rd map. We could have had OG taking Nuke away on a different day. Better start for OG, perhaps. We see a different scoreline. But right now, Complexity are in the driver's seat. OG have had to bite the bullet. They don't want to go for this half-buy, but they have to. BlameF with, again, another opening. He's just so confident in his own ability to go around the map. He also has enough confidence in his teammates that he can be expendable. He can do what he wants. in the early round. He may go down without a fight. He may get picked off. Generally, he finds a kill, but he knows his team can step up across the board. And that's exactly what's happening here for Complexity. They are finding every single kill, and it's MBK and Mantu left alone in Tier 2 versus 5.
Yeah, BlameF's been getting more and more activated as this game goes on with these mid plays. Consistently putting the pressure on his opponents. Obo's even getting involved with the aggression now. BlameF catches that other man in the back. It's 15-13 for Complexity. 2 chances for them to close out this series 2-0. We were saying that this was going to be not a grudge match, but definitely one that both these teams would want to win here in Group B, especially because we've seen Big play pretty well over on the other side of things. The winner of this has a good chance to try and get through to that final and try and get into the semis and have that better matchup to be able to go against Big in the final. And look at BlameF go. He is so confident right now.
Well, Config, that was an opportunity. He does miss the shot, but he's got Rush pushed up in the apartments, and Complexity is not just BlameF that's confident. It's everyone across the map right now. They have BlameF obviously in Palace. They're going for this B aggression as well. Look how much control Complexity have on this map right now. OG only have middle.
Yeah, and I think they'll be aware of that B aggression at least, but they won't know that BlameF's been making his way through Palace this entire time. And without that information, OG aren't going to realize that their A site is kind of compromised right now. They're not going to realize it's going to be really difficult for them to split onto A. Still focused on mid for the time being. This could be a B finish for OG, though. If you look at the map, they don't have anyone really at A ramp or Palace. Speaking of Palace, BlameF is now pushed all the way through into the spawn, and OG looking for the first fight, but Poison pulls the trigger just as that smoke looms, and here comes Obo. Easy kills from behind. Complexity are about to close this out. Obo gets it done, 16-13, and Complexity win that final round in emphatic fashion.
Yeah, topping the group. Complexity coming into this one. Definitely the favorites for this group, and they head to the top of Group B. I think OG, again, I'm pretty disappointed in terms of how they got off to that bad start. It could have been an excellent series where OG take the first map or even the second if the things had gone a little bit better for them at a certain point. But yeah, I think Complexity will be very happy with the 2-0. They go on to the tournament. They get to avoid Big until the final. And I think coming into this, Complexity are a team that I can definitely see winning this tournament, especially because, like Maui said this morning, Big definitely have a couple of weaknesses. They're not looking like that poised and ready team that were winning all of the events going into the player break.
Yeah, and that point you're making about OG is the reason it almost feels disappointing is because they were playing so well. It's because they brought it so close, right? So it's always in a good way, but you're disappointed because they really could have got this to a third map. It was a good series, even though it was a 2-0. OG putting up a solid fight. I think they're definitely showing signs of improvement. I'd love to see a rematch between these two at some point down the line, but right now, Complexity just about getting it done.
Well, that is it here for Europe. It's time for a break, and we'll be back with the desk to break down this one matchup.
Here we are. The game delivered on all cylinders, man. OG versus Complexity, almost making it the distance once again here on Mirage, almost making it into that OT. Maui, we have a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, this was a great series. It's a shame we didn't get to that third map.
Yeah.
I know Haka and Dinko were also upset at that because these were two excellent maps. If OG came out a little bit hotter in map 1 on Nuke, it would have been really a banger third map. But here we are, series concluded. Complexity take it 2-0. Both games almost going the full, almost all 30 rounds actually, and really highlight plays from the Complexity players. We saw their individual skill along with their tactics really carry them here.
They did carry them. And I really, I thought both squads on their T-side approach, it was really good. A lot of good ideas coming through. We even saw round 11-10. I specifically wrote this one down because Alexi B had such an intelligent lurk smoke out that A ramp, drawing all the attention to him. He even got a pick through that triple box and allowed the rest of his teammates towards that middle. NBK specifically got a huge pick off in that connector. And from that point on, man, Issa, he had a field day out of that palace, but Complexity once again reacting so well on their CT side of things, because even though things got difficult, even though OG brought the fight up, here we are, someone's at the door. Who could that be? Welcome back, Freya.
You know what? We never know what's going to be going on in esports for this virtual desk. Let's break this one down a little bit. I saw you guys looking at the scoreboard beforehand. I think it's a pretty interesting one to break down because the kills, they were so close across the board, weren't they?
Yeah, this game had a lot of people stepping up in big ways. Alexi B really taking this game for his team in some of those rounds. Like Potter mentioned, the way that he was able to lurk out at A ramp and then use the Molotov to find that pick on a rush, that just enabled everything. And on the Complexity side, I really liked Obo's snappy aim, the way that he was able to capitalize in that connector position to close things out here. And yeah, here it is, that play that Alexi B, he just knows that rush is behind that triple box right there, forces him to swing out. And it's just such a good opener like that. Alexi B, he loves to make those little plays to get his team that opening advantage. It's cool to see how it's kind of like a pug play. It's kind of like you are just kind of taking advantage of a situation in a 1v1 space that you're creating for yourself. And yet he can make it work in a team environment such as this.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it goes, without saying, obviously Hawker mentioned it during the game, it's kind of heartbreaking to not see this go to a third map because OG, they really were playing some of these rounds so well. And I believe you have a particular one that you want to pick up on, Maui.
Yeah, so we're going to be headed to the stats helix here, and this is really a round that was kind of in the middle of the first half. OG was having a hard time with things, but at 6-4 here, as we can see, they just went very heavy with this mid presence. Just a lot of these players at mid, they fully committed to this, and like Haka was mentioning before this game is starting, that Complexity, they love this mid control, and we can see even with 50 seconds left, they're forcing the issue, and we can see that all of these players from OG, they're still committing to this. They have no utility left, just a couple of flashbangs, but still they decide to fight for it here. And if I can just pause for 1 second, a lot of times in these kinds of situations, we would see that teams would love to just push that ramp, maybe push into B apartments, but OG, they just hold their ground with Alexi and Valde here. You can see that the two-man game between these two is going to erupt in quite a few kills for them. So Alexi B, he triggers the engagement with that fight right there, and Valde, he knows with the anti-strat. Just take a look at him. He pushes through a smoke with perfect timing, finds 2 kills onto those players. BlameF does take him out, but with so little time and no control of the bomb, which is around here actually, it is OG that end up taking this round here, and it sets themselves up very nicely because they win the rest of the half on top of this. It's just OG showing that they really prepped for this series here. They knew that this BO3 was probably going to be happening when they spread that group, and it's a shame that they couldn't pull it off. But they played such great reactive Counter-Strike.
Yeah, that's something that we were kind of discussing as well. Even on the first map, which was Nuke, those CT sides, they seem to be so locked down there for OG. Christine, in your opinion, what kind of slips off in that second half? Because it seemed like it was kind of going their way.
It was going their way, and you're right. The CT sides actually for both of these squads across both maps was spectacular. I thought it was so thoughtful. Even in the last round of this map on Mirage for Cole, we saw Config and CT Spawn throwing a flashbang for BlameF to be able to push that palace, and there's just a lot of moving pieces for both squads on their CT side that really gave them such a strong defense. I mean, we even saw Poison. Of course, he's had a spectacular day, but on this Mirage, particularly in mid, he had a 3K And honestly, most operas would fall back in that scenario. This is it right here. But he knows the support cast that he has. He stands his ground. Look at these enemies. They're not even looking at them, but it's because of what his riflers are doing, the amount of pressure that they're applying right at the right moments. And Poison, understanding exactly what's going on in his mind, knows that he has the advantage there. He can stand his ground, and he plays his angles most optimally. So both squads, great CT sides, and I wish we saw that third map.
It would have been so good to be going over to Overpass, and it was kind of a map that we didn't know that was going to be coming into it. I would have loved to see how it was going to be playing out there, but I also just wanted to touch on just that little bit of aggression that we saw at the end of the map there from Complexity on their CT side. I know Alex was kind of talking about it, and it was a little bit more passive earlier in the half, but then as we moved forward, I feel like that aggression, that's when Complexity are really looking dangerous.
Yeah, Blame F does a great job at recognizing how to create win conditions for his team in a half. If OG's running their game plan and they're finding success, if they're giving them too much space, Blame F, I feel like he likes to play that reactive style to start a lot of games, make sure that their anti-strat, their setups, it's all falling into place. But if things aren't going according to plan, he knows how to take the game by the balls and just really go at it, really find that space, carve those areas out on the map. And to end the game, the way that him and Obo, all of them playing around each other at mid along with Poison, the tandem between that trio was just so strong. The way that, as we saw in the highlights, Poison just had such total confidence at that cap position. It was really impressive, and you know that those riflers are enabling him. It's a good defensive game plan coming in from Complexity.
Yeah, and I love that you touched upon Obo there, because I know, Christine, we talked about him a couple of days ago when we were talking about their first opening game, and he was really instrumental in that part. Obviously, we saw, as the scoreboard really showed, the kills were so evenly spread across the board. But I feel like Obo, he still had those moments where he was so important for Complexity's success.
Yeah, exactly. And Obo, he's so mechanically gifted. But the great thing about Obo being such a young newcomer that he is, he hardly makes any mistakes. He's so polished. He's the A anchor player on Mirage, and across a lot of these maps, he's that weapon, that young gun with that 16-year-old aim. You throw flashes for him, you know he wants to get involved. He's not going to be timid, but at the same time, having a polished player like that can boast experience and show like he's a veteran, that's some strong stuff.
Yeah, it's really scary looking at him like that. And I think something else that's kind of scary is that we're going to be seeing an OG versus Fours match coming up. That's going to be an elimination game. If you're OG and you've come off this loss, which was so close, Maui, what are you going to be doing going into that next match?
You just got to be prepping the same way that you were for this one. I know that Alexi B is not one to shy away from the hard work, from getting dirty with it in the demos. And you know that he's going to be anti-stratting the heck out of Jerry. Jerry is a great IGL, but in my opinion, I think Alexi B is just a little cut above him, and Alexi B should be able to come up with the game plans necessary to counter Fours. Might be seeing a nuke pick come out of that game. You know that Alexi B is just going to be flirting with them at that door position, and Forza, they love to run those kind of fast, sometimes those fast mini splits, sometimes the quick A execs. OG, it's just up for them to prepare for those kinds of plays to come out.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point that we touched on Alexi B there, because not only is he, the in-game leader, the mastermind behind a lot of this, he still pulls in the frags, doesn't he, Christine?
He does, and he's such an instrumental part for OG to buy that space. Alexi B, he's an intelligent, cerebral player, so he's not going to rely on his aim all the time. He'll find space and he'll find his advantages in other ways, and that's kind of what we saw. As Maui mentioned, it was very reactionary calling, and the reactions were almost near perfect on their T side of things. It was Complexity that enabled some retakes, and Complexity that had the layers that allowed them to put the rounds on the board, but all the way through, I thought OG were going to make that comeback happen and close out this Mirage.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And I feel like somebody that we do really need to shout out from both of the maps from the OG side, it was Mantu. I feel like maybe he had a bit of a slow start coming into that nuke, but again, top fragging here on the server in Mirage. I feel like on the side of his team, rather. I feel like he is such an instrumental player going forward. We were talking about him in the pregame, with his hand injury before the player break, but I feel like any rust that may have formed on him, it's been thoroughly shaken off.
Yeah, he's done a great job to come back into this one. The player break was something that OG really needed given Mantu's injury, but the way he's bounced back, it's just so impressive. Watching this guy grow up in the from his last team, Alternate Attacks, and get picked up on this roster. A lot of people were raising questions about, is this guy really fit for Tier 1 CS? He has definitely proven that he is. He's so flashy at times, and he's just really consistent. I mean, he's not nearly as aggressive as Poison, but he can easily rattle off those multi-frags, just kind of re-peeking around one piece of cover, peeking the left side, peeking the right side, just working with those kinds of spaces and making it look really easy at times. And it's not like it feels like the OG game plan is centered completely around Montu, but sometimes you wish it was, because he is so strong with that AWP.
Yeah, I kind of want to delve into that game plan of OG's side a little bit more, because obviously we will still be seeing them again later in the elimination match. If you're OG coming off of this, what are you kind of learning from this? Because again, it was an incredibly close series, but I feel like there might be some points, maybe from your side, Christine, that you can kind of point them to and say, this might be a hole in your strategy here.
Yeah. I think if we just look back on that nuke, it's pretty clear cut, right? 11-0 deficit. And it's not as if OG were just getting out-aimed and outgunned. Well, it kind of was, but that was OG's choice, right? They wanted to look for the picks. They wanted to run a default, and they wanted to allow Mantu to find some workings with that AWP. Unfortunately, though, if you're running up against a Complexity, a Heroic, all these practiced teams, they're not going to just give you those kinds of picks. And OG knows this, right? But that tunnel visioning, it starts to kind of happen. Maybe Mantu felt like, he legged a player, maybe a shoulder peek, and he wanted to make a read. So there's a lot of factors that go into this, but I do think that if an adjustment happened a little bit earlier on before that 11-0 started, I mean, we saw it, those contact plays, forcing the trades, forcing the issue, finding those kinds of duels, it worked out for OG. They were able to get those 4 rounds on the board. And even moving on to this Mirage as well, the T-side calling was fantastic from Alexibi. There was constant adjustments, constant movements. And after Poison had that incredible round in mid and he got that 3-piece, Poison was quiet for like 5 rounds after that. And that was all due to OG making those kinds of adjustments. So, I mean, they're on the right track. I saw some beautiful Counter-Strike here today.
Well, it's pretty impressive when you manage to silence Poison. And that noise means that we do, in fact, have a very special guest joining us. It is going to be Config from the side of Complexity. Thank you so much for joining us. Massive congratulations to you, Config.
Thank you so much for the invite. I'm happy to be here, and thank you.
We're very excited to get to hear some words from you. And I want to go back briefly to the first map, which was obviously Nuke. Your CT side, as we were just saying, looked so solid on that. Were you kind of expecting OG to be picking into that map? And what was the game plan coming into it?
Our gameplay was just to keep our calm and play our own game. We of course have anti-strat that our coach Kita and our analyst Anton has made, but we kind of just started doing our own thing and then playing the good old setups that we know that works, and we kind of knew that what they had to come with. Like we knew that they didn't have anything extraordinary.
Yeah, and then coming into Mirage, we actually saw you lose out to OG recently at Blast on this very map. What did you kind of learn from that game, and what did you change coming into this one?
That we just need to play active as a team. We need to take the duels with confidence, and we need to regain map control every single time that they take some map control from us. And we kind of failed at that in the beginning, but we came back stronger.
Yeah, I had a question about, so you're frequently the I'd say top hut player, and Alexi B, he loves to just work with that door. He loves to work with that smoke. Do you think you got the better of him today?
Of course. Do you see how many times I killed him?
Yeah.
No, he tried to lurk out a lot, and we kind of knew about it. And I just said to my coach that I wanted to spam a lot, and we did it. We kind of caught him off guard, I think. He tried to lurk out in the smoke a lot of times and tried to do a lot of sneaky plays, but he got fully shut down. And I think that's why he didn't really do it that much this game. I killed him 3 times or 4 times through the smoke, I think. And I think that kind of destroyed his game plan for himself.
Yeah, no, Config, you definitely asserted your dominance towards that door room. I wanted to ask about this last round on Mirage. I noticed that you threw a flashbang for Blame F to kind of enable him for that Palace push in A halls. Was that a Blame F call? Was that a your call? And do you guys prepare for these kinds of misdirections to create an opening pre-match, or was that just on the fly?
I think it was someone else flashing for him, actually. I don't think I flashed for him.
Oh.
But that's just what we need to do on Mirage. I think that's what every team needs to do, like gain map control when you lose some, and try to do the sneaky plays, because they can't be everywhere on the map. Usually people go a lot mid and then 1B, 1A, and then they have to be one of the positions. And we did the information plays like we talked about, and it just worked out great.
Well, confidence definitely is the name of the game with you guys, Config. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us, and massive congratulations on that
Thank
win.
you so much.
Thanks.
Oh, it's always fabulous to get to hear from the man himself. It's been an awesome start to the day over here in EU. I believe we can take a look at our NA bracket, which is going to be coming up next. We, of course, are going to be seeing the guys from Furia take on Team One, and it's going to be a little bit of a regional rivalry, isn't it, Christine?
Yes, regional rivalry. And if that preview of Furia versus Yeah told us anything, it's that these little brothers from Brazil in Team One, they're ready to fight. They're gonna this series is gonna be brawly, and there's gonna be a lot of frags across the board.
There is indeed. Alex, what are your expectations going into this one?
Team One, they've been kind of meddling around the T2 scene for a while, but they're actually proving themselves here. They took a series off of Cloud9, and, I wouldn't be surprised if they at least get one map off of Furia here.
Well, it could be a 3-map series, and it's been an absolute banger of the day to start off EU. And of course, we are not done with the action just yet. We'll be hopping over to NA to delve into more spectacular CSGO action and another winners bracket match. It's a regional rivalry as the big guns of Furia take on the underdogs of Team One in a best of 3, and it's going to be incredible.